Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about Rebellion prices and how I actually believe these card values will crater at some point in the future. I think there's a predictable future where they are less expensive than they are currently. And I want to talk to you about that today. This is a clip from a recent members only live event. If you want to be present when I record these things, check out my membership page on my YouTube channel. Support me at whatever level you feel interested and inclined to, and you'll be invited to these weekly lives. Thanks guys, bye for now. Gathering said earlier, we'll check it out when get home from work. Hope everyone got their wagons loaded. I did 15 wagons. I think you guys maybe saw that. This is a little tip that I think is worth thinking through. Now, if you're doing battle wagons and if you're using epics, the regular foils are still relatively affordable for a good quality card. That's the other picture, right? It's a quality card. You can use it in your ranked battle, your tournaments, etc., and you get to put it into the battle wagon or the mage wagon. I love that complexity because I don't need to just buy it for the mage wagon. That would be really artificial interest. But if I already want the card and I can use it in the mage wagon, that's like an icing on the cake. I think there's room to say that will later translate to price decline over the Rebellion assets. And maybe we should just start there, because I actually think there's a pathway to a great reduction in Rebellion prices. But before I get to that ultimate picture, that point, I just want to say right now, I think there's still some reasonable price points, especially for cards that I think are ones you already want. It's like you want it, you're going to buy it. Right now you can buy it and benefit in more than one way. I like that. And I think many people like that. And I think that's why Rebellion prices have gone up. But it's also why I think they could keep going up for a finite amount of time. I think that increased buying pressure gets satisfied or it fights against the resistance of new supply. We saw the other day that the Rebellion card prices went up to $5. So like you open one pack of cards and it was producing $5 worth of value, estimated value, mind you. And now it's at $4.23. This is still profitable. You can buy a pack for $4, in fact, less than $4, because remember, you get bonuses when you buy a big. But if you came in and you bought Rebellion packs and you were able to throw together some significant funds, you can buy 2,000 packs, you get a 15% bonus. The $3.40 per, I think it's $3.60 per because of the voucher cost. Still very, very cheap. And coming back to Splinter cards, the profitability is there. If you're doing that sort of bulk buying, you're standing to gain maybe 60 cents per pack on average. Not to mention you get to hand select the cards you want to keep. You guys know this routine. I don't need to re-explain every in and out of this process. I'm probably 6 months out before I pull into something like a 2,000 pack buy. But I still do want to do that. And I guess as long as this number stays above, that's going to keep me wanting to, and I might pull the trigger sooner than that. But again, I think there's a unique moment in this season, and that's the tricky bit, because these prices, as more and more packs become available, because more and more people are taking advantage of this trade, there becomes more and more supply, which means there's probably a reduction of the opportunity, and the opportunity is constantly being reduced as well because of time. As we move closer and closer to the end of the conflicts, I think when we get into the 7th conflict or 6th conflict, maybe even the 5th, you're going to start to see price declines in Rebellion cards, because I think lots of reasons, but I think this can be really meaningful. So it's like I said earlier, I think the opportunity is front loaded. Like the opportunity is now. I talked about how this moment is unique. I mean, over these next few weeks, I think in the next 4 weeks, there's really a pronounced attention coming to Rebellion, to conflicts. Not that it'll die off immediately thereafter. I think it'll continue, it'll sustain. There'll be new people coming into conflicts and more people going bigger, as some of the summoners sound like they're going to be absolutely game changing. I saw a clip from the People's Guild where Matt was specifically saying the new legendaries are going to have tactics, and he talked even about how they want to move closer to what Untamed did in terms of power impact. And I would argue Chaos Legion summoners are quite powerful in and of themselves. And I've spoken to that a little bit using Splintercoach, looking at the data around like Lily Shieldpaw, Quixodevious, Immortalis. These summoners play a lot and they win well. And yet Matt feels that they were they weren't strong enough. That's at least the implication of the recent conversation I heard on People's Guild. So go check out their full podcast with Matt, and you'll hear him get into that, because I think it might have been B Jangles. He asked the question. He goes like, are we going to see more powerful summoners or return to Untamed? And Matt said he doesn't want them to be too powerful, but at the same time, he implied that these older cards were not broken. And I agree with him. So my point is, Chaos Legion are amazing. And I think if he wants to ramp them up even beyond that, we need to look forward to this new airdrop being very special. These 6 summoners that are going to be legendaries with tactics are going to be very unique. That to me means increased buying pressure on Rebellion to increase conflict participation. And so I think there'll be this prolonged, probably 4 to 6 month window where Rebellion is continuing to either hold stable despite packs being opened and sold, or even Rebellion prices continuing to go up for the reasons I just laid out. These airdrops are going to be awesome. They're going to be amazing. There's new people stepping in as well. And there will be more and more of them that are entering into conflicts because they want to participate in these different things. Maybe Rage, it's awesome, but maybe Rage is not one that you particularly care about. And yet this next card could trigger you to move in. I think that will keep happening, but at some point you cross a line in the sand and there's a selling pressure that begins because people don't want to be left holding the bag. That's the reason why I actually think it's conceivable that Rebellion prices will crater eventually. And when I say crater, I'm being a little hyperbolic or dramatic. I don't think they're always going to be relatively scarce, even if we end up selling more packs than Matt previously suggested. If we get in that 3 to 4 million pack sale price, I'd be really surprised. Like, I mean, if we sell 4 million Rebellion packs, I'd be really surprised. But I could see that happening if SPS spikes up in the next few weeks or months. I could see that happening if the game draws in, if like the bull market triggers in a big way, and we get a new player growth. But if everything stays relatively the same, I bet we sell in that 2 to 3 million range. 4 million would be a huge victory, and that would be, a lot more supply for these cards. All of that leads to a place where these cards were still going to be quite rare, even in the most sort of sold, even in the path to them being the most sold that they can be. Because I actually think like 6 million is probably like just not happening. Like, I mean, even if SPS spikes dramatically, because I don't think SPS is going to spike tomorrow. So it's like, you have to start imagining this set is going on for another 9 months. And if we have to wait 3 months for SPS to get into a really substantial price spike, is that going to give you much room to sell many more packs? And in the meantime, we're burning. So I think 4 is like the optimistic number, 4 million, which puts these cards into a relatively scarce place at the end of the day, meaning that even when I say crater, that I think the prices still relatively stay high in compared to, for instance, Chaos Legion. And then you have to take into consideration that just because they come to market and because they might fall for a window of time doesn't mean that they stay low forever. It just might be perceiving this opportunity and preparing yourself so that you can, buy into that. Maybe there's going to be Rebellion cards that you won't have at that moment. I don't think the airdrops are going to fall under this logic because they'll be too new and fresh. But by that time, 4, 5, 6 months from now, you're going to see people sleeping on some of these amazing legendaries. Baradalin, I definitely think, is one of those that is amazing and in my mind is like must have. Also, Darg, Dead Blast. I have a max Darg. I have a level 3 Bara. Actually, no, I maxed out my Bara. So some of these are amazing and really powerful, and I think they're going to get a little bit slept on. They're going to be kind of old by that time. Like 4 months from now, 5 months from now, just watch. People will be taking them for granted. There'll be more on the market, and people will start like sleeping on them from an investment perspective, and that will compound what I'm talking about, this price drop for Rebellion, because it's going to be some people leaving. They bought in strictly to enjoy the pre-sale or the conflicts. Not entirely, but I mean that will be a large consideration in their minds, and those people are moving out. I bet they're not long-term holders. They don't want to hold the fullness of their position. They probably have got more than they intended, and they'll hold that until the late game, and then they'll move out. They will be sellers. Plus, the buyers who love this thing and who are here for the long haul will be less excited in that moment. So for all those reasons, I actually expect in like 5 months, 6 months, there'll be the most supply possible. There'll be the fewest interested parties, and there'll be the most potential sellers, all of which leading to, and the conflicts coming to an end means that there's one less usefulness, one less utility for holding the cards. And for all those reasons, I think there is a reason to justify or to explain a price drop off that will be significant, will be noticeable. Might be either a sell opportunity or a buy, depending on which angle you're looking at it. But I just want to think through it for myself and share it with you guys, because I think this is logical, it's conceivable, it's predictable. And if so, if I'm right about that, then I want to play it. I want to recognize the angle, and I want to, find an angle within it to take advantage of. Because again, the game within the game is the marketplace, understanding how to stretch your investment and get more for the same dollar. So that's one of the talking points I wanted to touch on today, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. I definitely think that 5 to 6 month range, you are going to see, that's going to be that moment. I don't think people are going to wait till 8 months or 9 months till the last airdrop. I think there'll be sellers before that, because even though those will be amazing legendary summoners in the last bit there, I would wager the sellers come early because they don't want to be stuck holding the bag. But yeah, I definitely think what I'm saying is true. And I think it actually translates to, a price crater, because it's a massive utility that just disappears. And every time you look at, remember what happened with DEC, everyone wanted to hold it because it gave you SPS airdrop points. Then that utility disappeared when SPS airdrop ended, and the holding of DEC, no one wanted to hold it. In fact, they sold before the end. Most of them did, the smart ones did, because they didn't want to be left holding the bag. That's the exact sort of, and so this is one final note on this. I'll say, Matt has said he didn't want to sell more Rebellion packs than were needed, than you want. And I think he is aiming at that result, but the conflicts are creating a certain desirability for the cards and the packs that isn't necessarily permanent. That's all I'm saying. And if I'm right about that, there absolutely will be a translation to the impact of Rebellion cards and packs after the conflicts are over. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if Rebellion cards are less expensive, Rebellion packs are less expensive after they're done being circulated, which is kind of rare, unusual. You think like once they're out of circulation, the price should go up. Okay. Only if there's really ongoing desirability for it. And what I'm just saying to you is I think there's a major reason to believe that there will be a reduction in desire for Rebellion cards, Rebellion packs, after the pack issuance is done. So it's like out of circulation and the price goes down. Now I don't know how much. I use the word crater. I'm being dramatic. Is it it's going to be augmented or like resisted. The downward pressure will be resisted by the end of the circulation becoming this point of scarcity and this point of collectability. But I personally think it's gonna be at least a noticeable downward number, like on your portfolio of Rebellion. I don't know if that's 10%, 25%, 50%. I think there's going to be a noticeable impact to your Rebellion assets toward the end of the airdrops. That's what I'm saying.